did you watch Entourage?
Yes.
Okay, I love Entourage. And again, you watch it now, and some of the things just wouldn't. Again, this is coming from me, who is the most I am not a victim, step into my power woman. Like some of the things, it's like, oh, that just it's a little different today, right? The way that they talk about women and all this and that. And Entourage now, it's constantly defending itself because people now call it so misogynistic and sexist. And I can appreciate men, you know, checking out women and men's like it's the kind of underbelly of how men's lives almost like revolve around women. Like, that's a hot girl, I gotta get her, right? Like that whole thing, which is fine, but people will take it out of context and say it's objectifying, and you know how they talk about women like a piece of meat. So is Entourage, quick hot take, sexist, misogynistic, all these things, or is it just guys being guys, or where does that become problematic?
I think that when I think about it, it's been a long time since I've seen Entourage, but I did watch it all. I think the people who mostly did that, I think it was mostly Drama and Turtle, right? Am I wrong?
I mean, it's all of them. It's a lot of like getting with women. They talk about getting, you know, happy endings for $10, you know, all these things, constantly trying to get women. Like, I get that one, you get that one, right? And again, where's the line of like, that's guys being guys and it's an uncomfortable truth, and also like where it's respectful, right?
Well, I think it's disrespectful. I think it's childish for sure. It's also real. Like if you go to LA, if you spend time around LA guys,
exactly.
It's about LA guys, right? And honestly, let's look at Sex in the City. How different are they? Really?
I mean, I argue that women don't do it. We objectify men, but it's not the same. Like, it's just not. We see it. It's like, okay, cool. There's Ryan Reynolds, shirtless, hot. Whereas dudes go goo goo gaga, like tits, ass, me not able to speak, right?
Samantha in Sex in the City, that's the older one, right?
Samantha is the
yeah. He objectifies men pretty aggressively.
No, totally. It's just not as pervasive. It's not equal. And listen,
it's not. But that's a show made for women who kind of just they're caricatures of the locker room talk, the dumb bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, Blue is the same. It's a hyper character. Like, and yeah, young boys do act like that. I've been in locker rooms, a lot of them. You know what I mean? I've showered with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I know what's up. But also like if a guy was talking to me like that now in my 30s, like when you're 22, that's one thing, right?
So true.
When I watched Entourage, I was like 20, 21, 22 when it first came out. No one talks like that now. No grown up who actually gets with women is like. But in college, it was like that.
You are not cool.
Stupid. And girls were the same way. It was like we were children. We're done. We're coming into our own. But you grow out of that shit. And like the idea that that's like, so if you're doing that now, and you're doing that around like men, they're like, okay, what? Like if I was around some girls like, yeah, dude, I fucked that bitch, I'd be like, oh, okay.
You're a loser. Get a life. Like, no, 100. And I do think that there is, not to go down this path, but it's okay. You know, the biological instinct, this is where it's different, where men are biologically programmed to fuck things. Like there's a great Ali Wong bit in her new stand-up that I'm obsessed with, where it's like anything with a hole will do, right? And like men come in 5 seconds, whereas women, it's like, how can I come at a time like this when this is all going on in the world and this and that? Like, what is more truer than that, right? But that instinct in men to spread their seed and with as many women as possible. This goes way, way, way back. Whereas women, right, we are the nurturers. We are, you know, it's different. And the thing is, that's okay. But it's like navigating it into the modern world where you're not a Neanderthal.
I think about the one, when I think about it, I'm like, the one that was the most misogynistic in the whole thing was Drama, who was also the most insecure and got the least chicks. If you think about it, right? It's like Eric wasn't.
The thing is, Connor, and this is where the creators of Entourage will argue, and I talk about this with Andrew Tate, right? The word misogyny is thrown around so much. Yeah. And with Entourage, they'll argue, these guys, are they immature and childish? Yes, but they love women. They don't think of women as less than. Their whole thing is like chasing around and trying to get a woman to get with them because they love women. Whereas with an Andrew Tate, it's like you genuinely have a genuinely have a disdain for women.
I've been in a situation where I've been dating multiple women at the same time. They knew about each other. Like I was just casually dating, right? And I was having a lot of sex and doing a lot of different things. but I wasn't exploiting anybody. I wasn't manipulating anybody.
Yeah,
I wasn't lying to
exactly.
anybody. It was just like,
Exactly.
this is where I was in California, and honestly, a guy like me in California is pretty fucking rare. So I was in a pretty decent mating market because I'm a relatively masculine dude who came from Texas, who kind of talks like somebody from Texas, who doesn't, who doesn't walk around in flowy gowns. Like that's so it was great. It was really fun, but I wasn't exploiting somebody. And I think that's where the exploitation and manipulation are really gross and dark and should be avoided. And you got to be able to
Really
see that.
good point.
And where Andrew comes in, it's like I think he literally was exploiting women.
Yes.
Do I know for a fact that what he was doing was illegal and that he was trafficking people? I don't know. It seems like the charges are a little bit weird and with the way they're going about it.
Yeah.
But again, I don't pay that much attention to the guy because I don't have a lot of respect for him, and he doesn't really inspire. Like, to me, it would just be reactionary. It would be antithetical to masculinity for me to give a fuck about Andrew Tate. For me, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that.
It would be